Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Basilicata in Italy. You can barely see up there. In Italy. As you can see by the geography here, we are in the Arch of the Boot of Italy. Because it's a very basic geography fact. Most people notice this when they very first start studying geography, that Italy is shaped like a big old boot. And you have the heel right here, which is Apulia. We've already talked about Apulia. I'll link my Italy playlist right up there if you want to learn more about Italian geography in a soft spoken voice. And then Calabria is the toe, which we'll talk about next year because we're going in alphabetical order of every region in the world. So we'll head over there probably around this time next year, to be honest. So wait for that. But we're talking about Basilicata today. Basilicata, let's see, we'll start with the coasts. It has two tiny little coastlines, one right here on the Tyrrhenian Sea. It's a word I realize I've never heard spoken out loud. I assume that's how you pronounce it. It's how I've always pronounced it. But we also have another coast here in the Golfo di Taranto, the Gulf of Taranto, in the Ionian Sea. It's really hard not to say Toronto, like Toronto, Canada. Taranto. But Basilicata is not really known for its coasts and beaches and things like that. It's considered a more mountainous region of Italy. As you can see, cutting through here, you can see the eye in here of the Apennines, the Apennine mountain range, which runs down the entire peninsula of Italy, kind of like a big old spine. And my map says it comes through here, but it's really like most of the region here is pretty rocky and mountainous. Up here is Melfi. It's not denoted on my map, but there's a cool extinct volcano up here called Monte Vulture. And of course we'll look at that on Google Earth later in the video. But this mountainy region here, as you can see by all this green here, is full of national park. In fact, we have Pollino National Park, which is the largest national park in Italy. And of course, we're going to look at all of them on Google Earth. They're absolutely stunning, as you can imagine. There are really only two large cities in Basilicata. The rest are very quaint little towns, mostly up in the mountains. Just like imagine a Italian town perched on big pointy rocks, and you've got all the other beautiful villages here. And of course we'll look at them on Google Earth. We have the capital, Potenza, right here. Potenza. And we also have Matera over here, which is going to be important, which we'll just get into it now because it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So let me grab my tablet and slide this over very carefully so that you can see. Oh goodness, I'm gonna have to prop this up all weird too. This map's at a very awkward angle because of course it's long ways in the book because it's Italy. Okay, hopefully that works. Okay, I'll just have to hold it up. It says the Sassi and the Park of the Rupestrian Churches of Matera. I'll probably say it later, but Sassi means stone. It says, this is the most outstanding intact example of a troglodyte settlement in the Mediterranean region, perfectly adapted to its terrain and ecosystem. The first inhabited zone dates from the Paleolithic, while later settlements illustrate a number of significant stages in human history. Matera is in the southern region of Basilicata. And we have some cool pictures here. If you don't know troglodyte, typically means living in caves or underground. In this case, it's kind of both, because this is the city of stone. You can see some of the rocks here. Let's see, I want to show you the town first. So the entire town of Matera, here we go, is made up of this stone. So the entire city is like this gray color. And it's actually quite interesting. You can see this beautiful church here, made of all the same stone. So across the way of this town, this city, I suppose, are the caves where all of, oh goodness, this is precarious, all of these rocks are carved out from. And, oops, I think I messed up my map. Oh, it's fine. Many of these caves, like it says, were homes, and they were later taken over by monks and made into little monasteries and churches, and they painted the walls so beautifully. I guess I should have highlighted that more. Let me bring this back really quick. Oh my gosh. Okay. There's one right here. I think there are a few more. Oh yeah, look at these really pretty paintings. These look like they're in the houses, but this is definitely in a cave. Really gorgeous. It's a fantastic city, and we'll talk about its history, I guess, right now. Oh wait, I have one more geography note as I carefully put my tablet back. There we go. Okay. One more geography note, just because it doesn't really fit in history, is that this region is pretty seismically active. Many parts of Italy are very seismically active, very famously. Lots of large volcanoes throughout the Italian peninsula and the islands here, but Basilicata's had some pretty major earthquakes. The largest that I found were in 1273, 1694, and 1980, where there were very large and destructive earthquakes. Yeah, that didn't really fit into the history portion, so I had it in the geography portion. So now let's talk about starting in Matera, because that's where our story starts. There's evidence of Homo erectus having lived here, probably in the cave system, as there's a bit of cave art from that time as well. Matera could be one of the oldest inhabited places in the world, and definitely the oldest on the Italian peninsula, which is pretty cool, right? Not a lot of places you can pinpoint that's where people started settling down and building homes for the first time. But the first people who majorly settled this region would have been the Greeks, probably around the 8th century BCE. And it became part of a region known as Magna Graecia, which is essentially the Greek portion. Let me try that again. The Italian peninsula portion of ancient Greece. There we go. The Greek portion of Italy. I guess I was saying it right. The Greek portion of the Italian peninsula. But this was part of ancient Greece. There's not a lot of evidence from that time. There's little bits here and there, mainly around the coast because, of course, it's Greece, but not a lot. They called this region Lucano, or Lucania. Just filed that away. That's what it was known. There's some parts that are still referred to Lucania. I believe this national park over, hold on, I have to make sure I'm pointing at it right. This one here is the Appennino Lucano National Park. The name pops up throughout the region still to this day. The Romans would have conquered the area in the year 272, and they also didn't leave behind a lot of structures. There is some, just not like there are in other parts of Italy and other parts of the world. The main things that they left behind were parts of the Appian Way, which was their highway system that crisscrossed the peninsula. Hopefully I'll be able to locate them on Google Earth. Also, the Appian Way was just added to UNESCO this year, I believe, right? But I didn't feel like dragging it out because it covers pretty much the entire country of Italy. Probably next time it comes up in history, I'll mention it. But I didn't feel like doing it here where there's only little bits and portions of it that have been found so far, when there's many regions where it's far more prominent. But know that there are parts of the Appian Way that have been uncovered here in Basilicata. But like I said, this wasn't like a huge Roman center, It was just part of the Roman Empire, which made it very susceptible to invasions. So let's list the many invasions and occupations that happened here in Basilicata. I will be skipping a couple that aren't as relevant to history. If anyone watching this is like, well, she definitely should have mentioned that time when so-and-so conquered, just drop it in the comments and I'll probably pin it so that everyone can see it if I agree with you. But this is Basilicata in a nutshell. So let's get to it. So the Roman Empire crumbles apart, right? It is revived over in Constantinople, which is, of course, now Istanbul in Turkey, as the Byzantine Empire or Eastern Roman Empire. But, of course, the peninsula here was not part of that. It was part of the Western Roman Empire. So when that fell apart, the region was invaded by the Ostrogoths. The Byzantines tried to conquer it, and it went back and forth between the two groups for quite a while. That would be in the 4th-ish century. And a bit further into history was eventually conquered by the Lombards, who are a Frankish group, right? I didn't write that down. I'm pretty sure the Lombards were Frankish. Correct me if I'm wrong. Which just means from the France, southern German area, before France and Germany existed like we know them today, right? The Lombards would conquer and hold this area for quite a while, and the main group that would come to try to invade were the Saracens, which was basically just the, I guess Italian, maybe Greek word for Arabs. So they were Muslims coming and trying to invade this area here. I don't know, Saracen sounds more fantasy. It sounds pretty, but that's what they were known as here, the Saracens. And I believe the Byzantines kept trying to push them out. The Lombards kept trying to push them out. The ones who really pushed them out were actually the Normans in the very early 11th century. And yes, as in William the Conqueror Normans from northern France. They held on to the region for a hot minute. It would eventually pass hands through inheritance to Swabia, to the Hohenstaufen ruling family of Swabia, which is weird how Swabia keeps coming up in my videos. It was in what's today southern Germany. And basically it would pass through various families' hands before settling into the Bourbon family in 1793 by way of the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies. And it would stay part of the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies until August 18th, 1860, when it declared that it was going to join the Kingdom of Italy, which was, the hot new thing over here on the peninsula, as Giuseppe Garibaldi led his revolution to unite the peninsula and all the Italian territories here into Italy. Now, what was going on in Basilicata during all this time? The answer is not a lot. Like I said, this region was not really paid attention to. It was pretty neglected for a long time in history, and the people here were really poor, subsistence farming, living in caves, things like that. We saw in Matera. Not very wealthy at all. It's no Florence, it's no Milan, it's no Rome, of course. No major beautiful marbled cities with like art and fashion. It's no Venice. Gosh, I can list a lot of fancy cities, right? They're even city-states. Not so here in Basilicata. It was very rural, very, very poor. And the idea that joining the Kingdom of Italy was that it would bring more wealth and prosperity into the region, and the people here were very disappointed after joining Italy when that did not happen, and people were very disappointed and very upset by that. And rogue groups of like brigands, highway robbers sprung up, pretty much waging guerrilla warfare essentially against the Italian government and anyone who was unfortunate enough to pass by. So for a long, long time, Basilicata was considered so impoverished to the point that it was dangerous sometimes. There's some pretty awesome photographs, I probably should have pulled them up, of the various brigands. I love that word, brigands. All dressed in late 18th century Italian peasant clothes, looking very vicious. But yeah, Basilicata would remain impoverished, like I said, for a really long time. Just a quick note, Potenza was almost entirely destroyed, not from the many earthquakes, which it kind of was, that I mentioned before, but was also pretty heavily bombed by the Allies during World War II. Just a side note. But Basilicata wasn't thriving until, like, very recently, like 21st century. So we're talking about Matera here. Like I said, it was the city of stone. Everyone's living in these rocky homes or in the caves here. And it was like, oh, the poor people of Matera, the poor people of Matera, they're in this ugly town that's all gray and just made of stone, not even like marble at all or anything nice. It's rock and it's gray and drab, and the poorest people have to live in caves, and it's just so deplorable and sad. And there's even a big relocation that the Italian government was so concerned about the poverty here that they rehomed a bunch of people living in Matera. But today, that's considered quaint and beautiful and interesting, and now Matera is thriving for probably the first time in its history, to be honest. Now it's a huge tourist attraction to see all of these cool cave houses and the cave homes and churches, things like that. They get turned into Airbnbs now. You can rent them out and stay in it yourself and feel like you're a native. And yeah, now it's a point of pride here in Matera, which is interesting how quickly that flipped, right? Into, wow, it's so sad, it's just all stone, all drab, into like, wow, it's all stone. It's just like so drab that it's beautiful, which is kind of how I think of it, to be honest. And we'll see some more examples of that on Google. But why don't we hop over there? That's pretty much the end of the history of Basilicata. Very different from the rest of Italy, isn't it? Mainly because not a lot happened here. And that's because it's all mountains and farms and countryside. Like I said, there's no Milan here, there's no Venice here, there's no huge major cultural city like there are many of in Italy, not in the arch of the boot here. But let's head over to the tablet and we're gonna see beautiful Matera and some of the natural sights in this region. Okay, apparently it started raining at the end of the video there, but it's so soft I can barely hear it, so you guys probably can't hear it, but if you can, that's the sound of very gentle rain outside. But here we are in Basilicata. You can see highlighted here. But let's zoom out so you can see exactly where we are. So if you're not a geography beginner and you've never realized this, Italy is shaped like a big boot. There's the heel, the toe, the long leg here, and it's kicking Sicily down here. You can see the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. So this is the Tyrrhenian Sea. Again, I'm hoping that's how you say that. Just literally today realized I've never heard this word said out loud. And down here you can see the Ionian Sea, and this is the Gulf of Taranto, which I wonder if that's how Toronto, Canada got its name from. That would make sense, wouldn't it? But let's start over in Matera because I'm so excited to show you this place. Beautiful Matera. Let's see, there's a slideshow I wanted to show you in particular of the old neighborhood. Of the Sassi buildings. But of course it's not popping up. Do I have everything on? No, maybe I should. Haha. Showing you all the luxury hotels that are here. Let's see. Here we go. I think it's this one. Yeah, this one. So this is what the city looks like. Isn't that stunning? You can see why you know people back then would see this and be like, oh, it's so drab, it's so sad, it's so poor. But now it's like, wow, look, all lit up at night. The whole city is made of the same type of stone, and the whole place is just gray. Look at this. I think it's incredible. It's almost like the MC Escher, right? It's almost like that. You can see some of the rocks up here with homes being carved into them. I can see there's the mountain there. The home being carved in right there. Isn't that fascinating? Absolutely stunning. Wow, see, look at, there's the hillside and everyone's just living in there. A lot of these homes, of course, are being restored and fancied up because now this is a big tourist hotspot. Look at this. Wow, isn't that something? This is, of course, the old part of town, so apparently it's much nicer in other parts. But let me see this. Castello Tramontano. There's a whole castle here in the middle of town. I haven't looked at this slideshow, so it might take a minute for everything to load. But isn't that gorgeous? You can see the big bell tower of the big church right there. There's a concert happening there. There's the castle walls. It's so cool. It looks like this is a big concert venue now. Which, wow, what a great spot for a concert venue. But yeah, that was the best slideshow of the town. But if we head over to the hills over here, we'll see some views in the distance. So you can see little hotels over here. Let's see, we gotta go into the cliffs. I'm gonna turn everything off. Try to find, let me put it in 3D. Just so I don't get lost. Wow, so you can see the big old river down there. I never noticed that. The other side of this mountain is... Okay, I had it the wrong way. There's the beautiful river. Here's the cliffs where all these cool caves are carved into the rocks here. And let's see, here's a little church. Yep, this is a church. Carved into the mountain here. You can see the city in the distance inside the caves there. So yeah, some of these caves are natural, some were purposefully carved out by monks so that they can worship here. Wow, isn't that incredible? That's so neat. I think this is the big church in town. But yeah, isn't that something? What an atmosphere that must be. The acoustics must be incredible in a cave like that. Let's find another one. There's a bunch of them. Here's one. So this looks like a monastery. Wow. You can see some of the little caves in there. That one's obviously constructed out of the stone. Yeah, if I recall, there's not a lot of pictures of the actual interiors here. It's all exterior shots, but pretty incredible, right? And apparently there's a hiking trail you can take that connects all of these so you can experience them all in one long hike. Wow, oh, here we go. A big old cave church up in the hillside here. Isn't that something? Isn't this incredible? But yeah, this was once upon a time, like 50 years ago even, considered sad and poor and just like deplorable. Now it's stunning. Look at that cool old art. Little courtyard, isn't that pretty? That's fascinating. This place is so cool. You know, it's like everyone wants to go to Italy and see Rome and the Vatican. They want to see Venice, etc. Florence. Florence is at the top of my Italy list, but I'm gonna have to add Matera now, and maybe you should too. That would be incredible to see in person, wouldn't it? Alright, let's look at some natural sights. Here is the Apennine Lucanian Valley. That's a very long name for a national park. But we're going to look at some cool mountain sceneries here. A beautiful lake. Big old dam. Oh, that's treacherous. I don't know. I don't know about that. I'd have to be pretty brave that day to walk across that. But look at these views. It's stunning. Oh, another pretty church there. I wonder if that's it. That's really neat. But let's take a look down here at the Pollino National Park, which is way more famous. What a beautiful waterfall there. I think it's man-made. It must be dammed, maybe. It looks like it. That'd be neat if that was natural. But how gorgeous is that? Oh, it's stunning. Old road there by the looks of it. Old bridge. Oh, a bunch of wild lavender that must smell amazing. Oh, how beautiful. A little villa or maybe a church by the looks of that tower. Oh, wow. Probably all karst caves, right? I'm guessing. Wow. That water must be freezing cold, but in the best way, right? I'm not really a cold water person, but like today I went hiking and got right in the shower and it was so cold and it felt so refreshing. Just for those few seconds until I'm like, okay, hot water, please. But man, sometimes that fresh, crisp water hitting you in the face, especially beautiful mountain water like this, it's so rejuvenating, isn't it? Alright, let's look at Potenza. This is the capital of Basilicata. And as you can tell by the size, the most populous city. And I think this city is also gorgeous in its own way. It looks like, because you can see these are all skyscrapers, but all these quaint little red roofs kind of make it look like an old-timey town from afar. It makes me wonder if, like, if the ancient Romans could build skyscrapers, this is what ancient Rome would have looked like, in my opinion. Let's just look at the city slideshow. Potenza. So yeah, much more modern, obviously, than Matera. But still quite beautiful. I like this. You can see the opera house here, all of the little alleyways here, the church bell tower, some more modern architecture, some very ancient architecture here. Nice pretty town in Italy. It's where the hobbits live, I guess. Isn't that gorgeous? Almost Tuscan. Almost. But in this very modern setting. Oh, that's pretty. And yeah, as you can see, it's also up on a cliff. Like many cities are here in Basilicata. Like if we go look at Melfi, making sure I'm not lost here, making sure we're the right way up on the boot. Here's Melfi. Up on a cliffside. Like, I don't think I haven't found a village. Oh, that's a cool statue. In this part of Basilicata that's not built into a cliffside. Isn't that amazing? And I promised you a volcano over here. Check out this bad boy. It's got little crater lakes there. Guess we'll look at this slideshow, even though I don't think this is the one I looked at. So you can see these cool little double lakes up here on this big little volcano, which is extinct. So, ducks here. Cute. And, of course, since it's extinct, we can go into these cool caves, and it's all incredibly lush and green, isn't it? Some old habitation there, maybe? Because there's been no lava flows for a very, very, very long time to disrupt the plant life here. So it's all quite thriving and green, lush. Pretty neat. Let's see. You can really see it from the distance here. Big old volcano, like a big old pimple there. Oh, I know what I have to show you. Over here on the coast, there's this beautiful town called Maratea, which is also kind of on the hillside. It's built into this little cliff area here, and there's a lovely port and a little bit of a beachy area. But what I want to show you is up on this cliff. Isn't that amazing? Look at this. Wow. It's such a pronounced spine of a cliff there. This looks like this was maybe a volcano once upon a time that erupted and slid apart. Now all that's left is this half of it. By the looks of it, I could be very wrong. But I'm pointing out this town because my brother-in-law has a bucket list goal to see every large Jesus statue like Christ the Redeemer. So there is one here. So it's on our list. You can see the church up here. And let's see. I think you can see him from here. I think there's the statue right here, I think. It's all blurry. But I don't know. I was just showing him the statue and he's just kind of very apathetic. He's just kind of like, yay, behold, here I am. I do like that they kind of made his sleeves into wings. That's pretty cool. Looks like he's trying to catch some rain, but he just looks very bored. There's the sea and his view and the church up here. There he is from a distance. He's very columnar, isn't he? Okay, it looks like they just didn't finish the statue, but you can see his little toes down there. Oh, and that's for scale. You can see a person right there. He does have little toes, but his robe is very plain, which I'm sure he would like that to be It's still lovely. It's just up close. He doesn't look very happy to see you there. But it looks like an angel from afar. Isn't that cool? I think it's neat. My brother-in-law wasn't impressed, but that's only because I've been hunting down all the giant Jesus statues around the world, and we found some really amazing ones. So he was just very unimpressed by that one, because we've seen some pretty cool ones. All right, where shall we end tonight's video? I guess we should look at, let's pick a random town. Episcopia. See, look at every town is just stunning. All built into the cliffside, all looking lovely, which again, remember, nice nativity, was considered sad and poor a while ago, and now it's like, wow, this place is gorgeous. They've got a pretty little groves there. Ooh, scary tunnel. I don't like that. But there's the little village. Let's find one more. One more. How about this one? Hopefully we're still in Basilicata. Yes, in Potenza. Gorgeous. Oh my goodness. All right, let's end it here. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something new today, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you learned down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. This is, like I said before, an ongoing series on my channel. Oh no. No, thank you. Cinderella's here. An ongoing series on my channel. Next, we're heading over to Spain, a very heavily requested region of Spain. If you know, you know. Plus, we're going to see the Guggenheim. You don't want to miss the Guggenheim, right? So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. I hope that you found this video to be that wasn't very relaxing. I hope you found this video to be relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a good night. Good night.